Well, good morning. I hope you're having a good day. Or night, rather. Hi. Well, I mean, isn't it obvious, you know? It is 7:30 in the morning for you? Yeah. I hope you had a good rest. And for those who haven't rested, I hope you get good rest. We're going to be, reading poetry, guys. Because Regina Cardinal is a British person as well. And to play with her, I have to schedule around the British Standard Time. Because we don't want to play too late. Yes, yes it is. We are going to read romance. But not really romance. The poem romance. Is the rain alright, guys? Romance, who loves to nod and sing, with drowsy head and folded wing. Among the green leaves as they shake, far down within some shadowy lake. To me a painted parquet hath been a most familiar bird, taught me my alphabet to say, lisp my earliest word. While in the wild wood I did lie, a child, with a most knowing eye, of late eternal condor years, so shake the very heaven on high, with tumult as they thunder by. I have no time for idle cares, through the gazing on the unquiet sky. Yeah. Hi, Mickey. How are you doing, sweetie? This shows you don't pay attention to my titles, sweetheart. And when an hour with calmer wings its down upon thy spirit flings, that little time with lyre and rhyme to while away forbidden things, my heart would feel to be a crime unless it trembled with strings. I miss you too. I hope we can do Valorant sometime. I miss Mickey. That one was romance, guys. The next one is Sonnet to Science. Science, true daughter, old time thou art, who alterest all things with thy peering eyes. Why preyest thou thus upon the poet's heart, vulture, whose wings are dull realities? How should he love thee, or how deem thee wise, who wouldst not leave him in his wanderings, to seek for treasure in the jeweled skies, albeit he soared with an undaunted wing? Hast thou not dragged Diana from her car, and rimmed the hamadryad from the wood, to seek shelter in some happier star. Hast thou not turned the naiad from her flood, the elfin from the green grass, and from me the summer dream beneath the tamarind tree? That was a short one. Actually, I'm not tired. I just woke up not too long ago. I'm not trying to be loud because it is ASMR. And I don't want to startle anyone, you know? This one is called Lenore. Broken is the golden bowl, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll, a saintly soul floats on the Stygian river. And Guy Bear, hast thou no tear? Weep now or nevermore. See on yon drear and rigid bier low lies thy love Lenore. Come let the burial rite be read, the funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead that ever died so young, a dirge for her, the doubly dead, in that she died so young. Wretches, ye loved her for her wealth and hated her for her pride, and when she fell in feeble health, ye blessed her that she died. How shall the ritual then be read? The requiem how be sung? By you, by yours, the evil eye by yours, the slanderous tongue, that did to death the innocent that died, and died so young. Pecovens. But rave not thus, and let a Sabbath song go up to God so solemnly, the dead may feel so wrong. The sweet Lenore hath gone before, with hope that flew beside, leaving thee wild for the dear child that should have been thy bride. For her the fair and debonair. Good lord, it's so loud. Hi, thank you for the follow, Fontoon. I hope you're having a good night. I probably should have disabled the follow zone. The life upon her yellow hair, but not within her eyes. The life still there upon her hair, the death upon her eyes. Avaunt, tonight my heart is light. No dirge will I upraise, but waft the angel on her flight with the pain of old days. Let no bell toll, lest her sweet soul, amidst its hollow mirth, should catch the note as it doth float up from the damned earth. To friends above, from fiends below, the indignant ghost is riven. From hell unto the high estate, far up within the heaven. From grief and groan to golden throne, beside the King of Heaven. Yes, dear child, yes. This one is called The Sleeper, which a lot of you should be doing right now. At midnight, in the month of June, I stand beneath the mystic moon. An opiate vapor, dewy, dim, exhales out from her golden rim. and softly dripping drop by drop upon the quiet mountain top, steals drowsily and musically into the universal valley. The rosemary nods upon the grave, the lily lolls upon the wave, wrapping the fog upon about its breast. The ruin moulders into rest, looking like Lethe, seal the lake. A conscious slumber seems to take, and would not for the world awake. All beauty sleeps, and lo, where lies her casement open to the skies, Irene with her destinies. ASMR on my Twitch app. Yes, yes. This is mainly for Jella, because she just did a 25-hour stream, because she's not very bright and she needs to sleep. Oh, Lady Bright, can it be right? This window open to the night. The wanton airs from the treetop laughingly through the lattice drop. The bottomless airs a wizard root would through the night chamber in and out, and wave the curtain canopy so fitfully, so fearfully, above the close-fringed slit, 'neath which thy slumbering soul lies hid. She's gonna get beaten. That o'er the floor and down the wall, like ghosts, the shadows rise and fall. Oh, lady dear, hast thou no fear? Why and what art thou dreaming here? Sure thou art come o'er far-off seas, a wonder to these golden trees. Strange is thy power, strange thy dress, strange above all thy length of tress. And all this all, solemn silentness, the lady sleeps. Oh, may her sleep, which is enduring, so be deep. Heaven have her in its sacred keep. This chamber change for one more holy, this bed for one more melancholy. I pray to God that she may lie forever with unopened eye, while the dim, sheeted ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps? Oh, may her sleep, as it is lasting, so be deep. Soft may the worms about her creep. Far in the forest, dim and old, for her may some tall vault unfold, some vault that oft hath flung its back, and winged panels fluttering back, triumph, or the crested halls of her grand family funerals, some sepulchre remote, alone, against whose portal hath thrown, in childhood, many an idle stone, some tomb from out whose sounding door she ne'er force an echo more. Thrilling to think, poor child of sin, it was the dead who groaned within. That's good. She needs to, because that was a rough one. EP time, Gober. Let's see if I can. We're gonna do a short story now, because that's a decent story. Let's see. We'll do this one. If y'all know, that's neat. This one is called the Cask of Amontillado. Hi, welcome in, Kazuo Tatsuki, or Katsuki. Thank you for the follow, sweetie. The 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could, but when he ventured upon insult I vowed revenge. You, who so well know the nature of my soul, will not suppose, however, that I gave it utterance to a threat. At length I would be avenged. This was a point definitively settled, but the very definitiveness with which it was resolved precluded the area of risk. I must not only punish, but punish with impunity. A wrong is unredressed when retribution overtakes its redresser. It is equally unredressed when the avenger fails to make himself felt, as such to him who has done the wrong. It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given Fortunato cause to doubt my goodwill. I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not perceive that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. He had a weak point, this Fortunato, although... Fucking God,
Did I
Snake,
jump scare
why?
you?
Snake,
Yeah, I bet I did.
what the
You
fuck,
coward.
man? God,
You make me sick.
why are you still awake? Go to bed! Go to bed! God damn it! I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. I love it here, but I hate it here. Fuck you, Snake. God. I try to keep silent, and this is what I get. I get jump scared by... God. Hold on, guys. Lord, have mercy on my soul. Jesus. He did it to scare the ever-living shit out of me, and he succeeded. And thus, they get their privileges taken away for the moment. Good night, Snick. I hope you have a good night. Jesus, fuck. He had a weak point, this Fortunato, although in other regards he was a man to be respected and even feared. He prided himself on his connoisseurship in wine. Few Italians have the true virtuoso spirit. For the most part, their enthusiasm is adopted to suit the time and opportunity to practice imposture upon the British and Austrian millionaires. In painting and gemmery, Fortunato, like his countrymen, was a quack, but in the matters of old wines he was sincere. In this respect I did not differ from him materially. I was skillful in the Italian vintages myself, and bought largely whenever I could. It was about dusk, one evening during the supreme madness of the carnival season, that I encountered my friend. He accosted me with his excessive warmth, for he had been drinking much. The man wore motley. He had on a tight-fitting, party-striped dress, and his head was surmounted by the conical cap and bells. I was so pleased to see him that I thought I should never have done the ringing his in. I said to him, "My dear Fortunato, you are luckily met. How remarkably well you are looking today." but I have received a pipe of what passes for Amontillado, and I have my doubts. How? Said he. Amontillado? A pipe? Impossible. And in the middle of the carnival. I have my doubts, I replied, and I was silly enough to pay the full Amontillado price without consulting you in the matter. You were not to be found, and I was fearful of losing a bargain. Amontillado, I have my doubts. Amontillado, and I must satisfy them. Amontillado, as you are engaged, I am on my way to Lucchesi. If any one has a critical turn, it is he. He will tell me. Lucchesi cannot tell Amontillado from sherry, and yet some fools will have it that his taste is a match for your own. Come, let us go. Whither? To your vaults? My friend, no, I will not impose upon your good nature. I perceive you have an engagement. Lucchesi, I have no engagement. Come. My friend, no, it is not the engagement, but the severe cold with which I perceive you are afflicted. The vaults are insufferably damp, and they are encrusted with nitre. Let us go. Nevertheless, the cold is merely nothing. Amontillado, you have been imposed upon. And as for Lucchesi, he cannot distinguish sherry from Amontillado. Thus speaking, Fortunato possessed himself of my arm, putting on a mask of black silk and drawing a roquelaire closely about my person. I suffered him to hurry to my palazzo. There were no attendants at home. They had absconded to make merry in honor of time. I had told them that I should not return until the morning, and had given them explicit orders not to stir from the house. These orders were sufficient, I well knew, to ensure their immediate disappearance, one and all. As soon as my back was turned, I took from their sconces 2 flambeaux, and giving one to Fortunato, I bowed him through the several suites of rooms to the archway that led into the vaults. I passed down a long and winding staircase, requesting him to be cautious as he followed. We came at length to the foot of the descent, and stood together on the damp ground of the catacombs of the Montresors. The gait of my friend was unsteady, and the bells upon his cap jingled as he strode. "The pipe," said he. "It is further on," said I. "But observe the white web work which gleams from these cavern walls." He turned towards me, and looked into my eyes, with 2 filmy orbs that distilled arome intoxication. "Nitre?" he asked at length. "Nitre," I replied. "How long have you had that cough?" My poor friend found it impossible to reply for many minutes. "It is nothing," he said at last. "Come," I said, with decision. "We will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, and beloved. You are happy, as I once was. You are a man to be missed. For me, it is no matter. We will go back, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there is Lucchesi." "Enough," he said. "The cough is a mere nothing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough." "True, true," I replied, "and indeed I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily. But you should use all proper caution. A draught of this Medoc will defend us from the damps." Here I knocked off the neck of the bottle which I drew from a long row of its fellows that lay upon the mould. "Drink," I said, presenting him the wine. He raised it to his lips with a leer. He paused and nodded to me familiarly as his bells jingled. I drink, he said, to the buried that repose around us, and I to your long life. He again took my arm as we proceeded. These vaults, he said, are extensive. The Montresors, I replied, were a great and numerous family. I forget your arms. A huge human, fedora in a field azure. The foot crushes a serpent rampant, whose fangs are embedded in the heel. And the motto? Nemo me impune licet. Good, he said. The wine sparkled in his eyes, and the bell jingled. My own fancy grew warm with Medoc. We had passed through the walls of piled bones, with casks and puchons intermingling, into the inmost recesses of the catacombs. I paused again, and this time I made bold to seize Fortunato by an arm about the elbow. The nitre, I said. See, it increases. It hangs like moss upon the vaults. We are below the river's bed. The drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Come, we will go back, ere it is too late. Your cough. It is nothing, he said. Let us go on. But first, another draught of the Medoc. I broke and reached him upon a flacon of Degrave. He emptied it at a breath. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. He laughed and threw the bottle upwards with a gesticulation I did not understand. I looked at him in surprise. He repeated the movement, a grotesque one. You do not comprehend, he said. Not I replied. Then you are not of the Brotherhood. How? You are not of the Masons. Yes, I said. Yes. You? Impossible. A Mason? A Mason, I replied. A sign, he said. It is this, I answered, producing a trowel from beneath the folds of my roquelaire. You jest, he exclaimed, recoiling a few paces. But let us proceed to the Amontillado. Be it so, I said, replacing the tool beneath the cloak and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descending again, arrived at the deep crypt in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeaux rather to glow than flame. At the most remote end of the crypt there appeared another, less spacious. Its walls had been lined with human remains, piled to the vault overhead. In the fashion of the great catacombs of Paris, 3 sides of this interior crypt were still ornamented in this manner. From the 4th, the bones had been thrown down and lay promiscuously upon the earth, forming at one point a mound of some size within the wall thus exposed by the displacing of the bones. We perceived a still interior recess, in depth about 4 feet, in width 3, in height 6 or 7. It seemed to have been constructed for no especial use within itself, but formed merely the interval between 2 of the colossal supports of the roof in the catacombs, and was backed by one of their circumscribing walls of solid granite. It was in vain that Fortunato, uplifting his dull torch, endeavored to pry into the depths of its recess. Its termination, the feeble light did not enable us to see. Proceed, I said. Herein is the Amontillado. As for Lucchesi, he is an ignoramus, interrupted my friend, as he stepped unsteadily forward, while I followed immediately at his heels. In an instant he had reached the extremity of the niche, and finding his progress arrested by the rock, stood simply and stupidly bewildered. A more moment and I had fettered him to the granite. In its surface were two iron staples, distant from each other about 2 feet, horizontally. From one of these depended upon a short chain, from the other a padlock. Throwing the links about his waist, it was but the work of a few seconds to secure it. He was too astounded to resist. Withdrawing the key, I stepped back from the recess. "Pass your hand," said I, "over the wall. You cannot help feeling the nitrate. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, let me implore you to return." "No? Then I will positively leave you. But I must render you all the little attentions in my power." "The Amontillado!" ejaculated my friend, not yet recovered from his astonishment. "True," I replied, "the Amontillado." As I said these words, I busied myself among the bones of which I had before spoken. Throwing them aside, I soon uncovered a quantity of building stone and mortar. With these materials, and with the aid of my trowel, I began to vigorously wall up the entrance of the niche. I had scarcely laid the first tier of my masonry, when I discovered that the intoxication of Fortunato had in a great measure worn off. The earliest indication I had of this slow was a moaning cry from the depth of recess. It was not a cry of a drunken man. There was then a long and obstinate silence. I laid the second tier, and the third, and the fourth, and then I heard the furious vibrations of the chain. The noise lasted for several minutes, during which, that I might hearken to it, with the more satisfaction I ceased my labors and sat down upon my bones. When at last the clanking subsided, I resumed the trowel and finished without interruption the fifth, the sixth, the seventh tier. The wall was now nearly upon a level with my breast. I again paused, and holding the flambeau over the mason work, threw a feeble rays upon the figure within. A succession of loud and shrill screams, bursting suddenly from the throat of the chained form, seemed to thrust me violently back. For a brief moment I hesitated, I trembled. Unsheathing my rapier, I began to grope with it about the recess. But the thought of an instant reassured me. I placed my hand upon the solid fabric of the catacombs and felt satisfied. I reapproached the wall. I replied to the yells of him who clamored. I re-echoed, I aided, I surpassed them in volume and in strength. I did this, and the clamorer grew still. It was now midnight, and my task was drawing to a close. I had completed the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th tier. I had finished a portion of the last, and the 11th. There remained but a single stone to be fitted and plastered in. I struggled with its weight. I placed it partially in its destined position. But now there came from out the niche a low laugh that erected the hairs upon my head. It was succeeded by a sad voice, which I had difficulty recognizing as the noble Fortunato. The voice said, "A very good joke, indeed. An excellent jest. We will have many a rich laugh about it at the palazzo. Over our wine. The Amontillado, I said. Yes, the Amontillado. But is it not getting late? Will they not be awaiting us at the palazzo? The Lady Fortunato and the rest? Let us be gone. Yes, I said. Let us be gone. For the love of God, Montresor. Yes, I said. For the love of God. But to these words I hearkened in vain for a reply. I grew impatient. I called aloud, Fortunato. No answer. I called again. Fortunato. No answer still. I thrust a torch through the remaining aperture and let it fall within. There came forth in return only a jingling of the bells. My heart grew sick on account of the dampness of the catacombs. I hastened to make an end to my labor. I forced the last stone into its position. I plastered it up against the new masonry. I re-erected the old rampart of the bones. For the half of a century, no mortal had disturbed them. In pace, Wikisket. Yeah, that was the cask of Amontillado. I hope that, it was a good story, at least. Okay. This next one is called To Helen. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nishon barks of yore, that gently o'er a perfumed sea the weary way-worn wanderer bore to his native shore. On desperate seas, long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy Naiad airs have brought me home to the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome. Lo, in yon brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within thy hand, a sight from the regions which are Holy Land. That one was a short one. The next one is The City in the Sea. Lo, Death had reared himself a throne in a strange city lying alone, far down within the dim west, where the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest. Their shrines and palaces and towers, time-eaten towers that tremble not, resemble nothing that is ours. Around, by lifting winds forgot, resignedly beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie, no rays from the holy heaven come down on the long night of that town, but light from out the lucid sea. Streams up the turret silently, gleams up the pinnacles far and free, up drones, up spires, up kingly halls, up fames, up Babylon-like walls, up shadowy, long-forgotten bowers of sculptured ivy and stone flowers. up many and many a marvelous shrine, whose wreaths intertwine the viol, the violet, and the vine. Resignedly, beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie, so blend the turrets and shadows there, that all seem pendulous snare. While from a proud tower in the town, death looks gigantically down. There open veins and gaping graves yawn level with the luminous waves, but not the riches that there lie in each idol's diamond eye. Not the gaily jeweled dead tempt the waters from their bed, for no ripples curl, alas, along the wilderness of glass. No swelling tell that winds may be upon some far off happier sea. No heaving hints that the winds have been on seas less hideously serene. But lo, a stir is in the air. The wave, there is movement there, as if the towers had thrown aside in slightly sinking the dull tide, as if their tops had feebly given a void within the filmy heaven. Hi! Hello, Spoonie. Hope you're having a good day. But lo, a stir is in the air. A wave. There is a movement there. As if the towers had thrown aside in slightly sinking the dull tide, as if in their tops had feebly given a void within the filmy heaven. The waves have now a redder glow, the hours are breathing faint and low. And when amid no earthly moans, down, down that town shall settle hence, how rising from 1,000 thrones shall do it reverence. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Or whatever time zone it is for you. This next one is called The Valley of Unrest. Whence it smiled, a silent dell, where the people did not dwell. They had gone upon unto the wars, trusting the mild-eyed stars, nightly from their azure towers, to keep watch above the flowers, in the midst of which all day the red sunlight lazily lay. Now each visitor shall confess the sad valley's restlessness. Nothing there is motionless, nothing the airs that brood over the magic solitude. Ah, by no wind are stirred those trees that palpitate like the chill seas around the misty Hebrides. Ah, by no wind those clouds are driven that rustle through the unquiet heaven. Uneasily, from morn till even, over the violets that lie in myriad types of the human eye, over the lilies that there that wave and weep above a nameless grave. They wave from out their fragrant tops, eternal dews come down in drops. They weep from off their delicate stems, perennial tears descend into gems. That one was neat. That one was a nice one. It's calming, sweet. This one is called Hymn. At morn, at noon, at twilight dim, Maria, thou hast heard my hymn. In joy and woe, in good and ill, Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew brightly by, and not a cloud obscured the sky. My soul, lest it truant be, thy grace did guide to thine and thee. Now when storms of fate o'ercast darkly my present and my past, let my future radiant shine with hopes of thee and thine. That one was Hymn. It was very short. This next one, however, the bridal ballad. The ring is on my hand, and the wreath is on my brow. Satins and jewel grand are all at my command. Wow. And I am happy now, and my lord, he loves me well. But when he first breathed his farewell, I felt my bosom swell, for the words rang as a knell, and the voice seemed his who fell in the battle down the dell. And who is happy now? But he spoke to reassure me, and he kissed my pallid brow, while a reverie came o'er me, and to the churchyard bore me, and I sighed to him before me, thinking him dead. De amore. Oh, I am happy now. And thus the words were spoken, and this the plighted vow. And though my faith be broken, and though my heart be broken, behold the golden token that proves me happy now. Would God could awaken, for I dream I know not how, and my soul is sorely shaken, lest an evil step be taken, lest the dead who is forsaken may not be happy now. This one's probably gonna be like a short hour stream of that, guys, because I don't do ASMR very often. And as I'm sitting here drinking water, I'm like, oh shit. This one is called Silence. There are some qualities, some incorporate things, that have a devil life, which thus is made a type of that twin entity which springs from matter and light, events in solid and shade. There is a twofold silence, sea and shore, body and soul. One dwells in lonely places, newly, with grass o'ergrown, some solemn graces, some human memories and tearful lore render him terrorless, his name's no more. He is the corporate silence, dread him not. No power hath he of evil in himself. But should some urgent fate, untimely lot, bring thee to meet his shadow, nameless elf that haunteth the lone regions, where hath trod no foot of man, commend thyself to God. Yeah, that one was that one. Well, we got to one that I did the last time I did this, but it's been so long. We can read it again. This one is The Raven. Probably one that, you'll actually know. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now the still, the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "This some visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, really your forgiveness I implore. But the fact I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I was sure I heard you here. I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. And the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chambers turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon I heard again a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice." Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. This some wind, and nothing more. Open here, I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and stutter, in there stepped a stately raven, of the saintly days of yore, not the least obs- obeisance made he, not an instant stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lorded lady, burst upon my chamber door, burst upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of countenance it were. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim, an ancient raven wandering from nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly foe to heed the discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely upon the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if in his soul that one word did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness, broken by reply, though aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Good Lord, I am finding myself. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled the cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking. Fancy unto thee, thinking that what this ominous bird of yours, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt, and ominous bird of yours, meant in croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the full whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divine, with my head at case reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining, with the lamplight floating o'er, she shall press nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfume from an unseen censer, swung by the angels whose faint footfalls tinkled on the tufted floors. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee by these angels he hath sent thee. Respite, respite, and nepenthe thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind of nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still. If bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee, here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet said I, thing of evil, prophet still. If bird or devil, by the heaven that bends us above us, by that God we both adore. Tell this soul of sorrow Aladdin, if within the distant Eden it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend. I shrieked of starting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, like the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven never fitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the light lamp o'er him streaming throws his soul on the floor. And my soul from that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Yeah, that was a nice story, right, Chad? We are going to end now so we can go hang out, have fun. We are going to raid let's see. I'm not trying to find anything sus again. If it was sus, it was scary. Let's go to Cocoine. Do we enjoy the rain sounds, chat? I'm gonna sit here for a minute and enjoy it. get this raid ready. She's doing ASMR in VR chat, so she's gonna have visual triggers, and I only have my voice. I hope that y'all all sleep well if y'all are going to sleep. If you're just waking up, that's nice too. Let us go say hi to this new person. The I hope you all rest well. I love you lots. Goodbye, everyone.